Hello, 212 families and players. It's Adam Sanchez. I'm director of the 212 Basketball Academy. I just want to go over some things with regards to the program as the season gets closer and closer to starting here on October 17th. So hopefully this will help us with questions for those families that are new to the program and even those that are returning. I have a deadline here of 15 minutes, so I will go through this as quickly as I can. This is year 6 of our program. We started with 4 teams. We're upwards to 18 teams, which is about our full capacity between coaches and facilities. So an exciting time to be a part of the 212 program. The growth has been phenomenal. It's been quick. And I thank all of you for wanting to be a part of this program and to allow your kids to be coached by us, myself, and our staff. My experience, I won't go through all of them, but I played at Wartburg College. I spent some time as a director of basketball operations at Drake University, was an assistant basketball coach at Grandview, and then have been a high school coach in the past for 6 years at Cedar Rapids, Washington, and Williamsburg High School before starting the 212 basketball program. My family, my wife Abby, she is a teacher, second grade teacher here at Williamsburg in the elementary system. Is a big help. She'll be around at a lot of tournaments and a lot of our own tournaments. So feel free to say hi, get to know her as she chases our 4 kids from court to court while I'm coaching other games. I have an 8th grade daughter who's going to be 14 on Friday. Twins, a boy and a girl. The boy and the girl are both in 6th grade. And then a daughter, Tegan, who is in 3rd grade and will be taking part in her first team this season as part of the 212 program. The philosophy and the vision and goals for our program outlined there below, I should say. I'll kind of highlight a few of them. Number one, it continues to be kind of our staple. We place a lot of emphasis on skill development and then decision making, and I say game based there, but a lot of small games, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 3-on-2s, where decisions have to be made and players have the ball in their hands. So they have to quite a bit. We ask our players and teach our players to control what they can control, which is their attitude. To play with as much effort and their maximum effort level as they can, to compete at the highest level possible, and to be tough. Simply play hard, play together, and play when things aren't going your way as hard and with as much effort and as positive attitude as you do when they're going really, really well. 2 things we talk a lot about in our program. You'll hear us say to the players quite a bit. One of those is better your best. All of us are going to come to practice with some kind of skill, some kind of ability level. We ask that they leave a little better than they came in. As we stack those on top of each other by the end of February, early March, we got ourselves an improved player, and that's what we're looking to do. The final bullet there is to compete to be the best. We're going to compete against the best teams in the state, the best teams in the Midwest. Our players are going to compete against some of the best players in the area in practice. And we just ask that you don't have to be the best every single time. There's going to be times where you get beat, where sometimes your best just isn't good enough. But give yourself a chance by competing at the highest level possible. If we can do that enough times, I feel like this program is starting to transition into one of the tops in the state. And so that's kind of our goal, is to compete, to be the best around, to be the best in the Midwest. Doesn't always mean you're going to win every game, but can we do it from a standpoint where our players are getting better, our coaches are doing it the right way, our players are playing the right way, which makes us and gives ourselves a chance to be the best team around, best program around. There's our practice session outline. We'll spend time on individual instruction in that small-sided games and decision-making drills where players are asked to make decisions on the floor with the ball in their hand or without the ball in their hand. We'll go through small group, small-numbered competitive situations on 4-on-4s and 3-on-3s in different ways like that. And then we will spend a lot more time this season on team development. We are starting to get high-quality, high-level players, those that have been with us from 6 years ago, as they have gotten a lot better. Their skill has improved, their competition level has improved, and then at the same time, we're attracting new players with a high level of skill. And so with all of those things coming together, we need to spend more time on improving the development of our teams and giving our players and teams the best chance to go out there and win on Saturdays and Sundays. Practice and tournament schedule. The schedule is currently being updated and uploaded to TeamSnap, so you should have all that done by Friday, and that information will be on there. The dates for tournaments are set, but locations can change. So what I mean by that is as we go through tournaments, I put together the schedule now Then I start to look at Turning Machine. I start to talk to coaches, and I'm like, wait a minute, they're not going to Cedar Rapids that weekend. They're going to be in Des Moines. That's a team we want to see again, or we haven't seen yet. And so we may make some changes a month or so before each tournament if the competition level is needed there. It doesn't happen very often, but do understand those dates are set. I don't see a lot of changes to those dates. If there are changes, it'd be very, very small and minor, and I'll let teams know when they come available. Attendance policy-wise there, I just ask that you communicate that through the TeamSnap app. There's a really simple thing when you go to the schedule, yes, no, or maybe, for practices and for tournaments, so we get a better understanding. If you email me and say that your kid isn't going to be at practice, that's a great way to communicate. I will get it. I will most likely respond, but I do really appreciate it if we can go to TeamSnap and our coaches and myself can just look in the afternoon and realize that so-and-so will not be at practice, or we're missing somebody on Saturday for a game. We need to probably find a player or move a player up. We do have 2 days and 1 day tournaments. And as we get closer, we'll talk about hotels and those types of things. There's the practice schedule. One thing I wanted to highlight, as this has been shared out, and I thank you and appreciate all of you for being patient as we work through it, because there's never a perfect answer. We just try to get as close to it as we can. The 7th grade boys, as they get into the second half of the season after Christmas break, a lot of them will be beginning junior high basketball games and such. So there may be a shift and a change with them going to Tuesdays and some girls going to Mondays. But I will let you know that as soon as I have that information and have a plan put to place. But the junior high season obviously doesn't so much put a wrench in the system, but it makes it a little more difficult sometimes when scheduling. And so that may be a change that you see after Christmas, but up until Christmas break, that last week before Christmas, this is how our schedule will look. And like I said, if there is a change, it's probably going to be the 7th grade boys. 8th grade boys will flip with the 8th grade and 7th grade girls. And they'll go on Monday and the boys will go on Tuesday, but I should have that information done by Friday. Playing times and roles, really simply put, is that first bullet point up top here. All players will play in each half, but it won't be equal. And then I guess as you get younger levels, 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, it may seem look a little bit more equal than if you're getting in the 7th and 8th grade levels. And also understand that sometimes on a Saturday game, it may be a little bit more equal than it is on Sunday for a championship game. We're going to give our players all the chances we can to compete, to win, give ourselves to be as competitive as we can when we're on the floor. And so by doing so, sometimes players may play more minutes one game than they do another. If you see a consistent pattern with your kid not playing as much as others after a few weekends or after a couple tournament weekends, feel free to reach out and we can talk through that. One thing we're going to ask our coaches to do a better job of, and myself to do a better job of, is just communicating with players what their roles are, where their improvements need to happen, if they want to see the floor a little bit more, or why they are seeing the floor as much as they are, what they're doing really well. And so we'll do a better job of communicating that through our practices. I think our setup this year will be a lot better for that situation. And so that information can be relayed. If your kid is an older kid and feels comfortable to do so, feel free to have them ask their coaches as well what's some things they can do to help their team on a weekend so they can play a little bit more, but at the same time help their team compete over the weekend. If you're a 6th grade, make sure I get these all right. 5th grade boys, 6th grade boys, 7th grade boys, 8th grade boys, and then 6th grade girls and 8th grade girls. This rosters that we put together, there's multiple teams. The talent level is extremely high between both teams. There's sometimes 3 teams. And so it's going to be a fluid process early in the practice season. You may see some changes going into the first tournament weekend from what the roster that is currently set. You may see some changes over Christmas break from where the roster was the first couple of weekends. And so understand practice will be important. Games will be important. Attitude, effort, ability to get things done on the floor. A lot of those things are going to be taken into place as we continue to evaluate these rosters with the goal that going into January and February, we're putting together our best teams we can as we start to compete in some of the higher level tournaments in the state and in the Midwest. Communication for our program is done through TeamSnap. There's a TeamSnap chat feature that allows you to chat within your own rosters. It's kind of like a text message. So if you want to communicate with a another parent, you want to communicate with all the parents, you want to communicate with your coach, that's a great way to do so. Email is another way that's on their TeamSnap. I will use email quite a bit to email the mass group and to email individual teams. Communication between coaches and parents, I just say their 24-hour rule. You guys, most of you have all heard of that. And then the next one is any concern that you have with the program, with a team, with an individual player on your kid's team. I just ask that you direct that with me first. We can have a conversation, and then from there I'll direct that to the coach. If it needs to be a group conversation after that, we can definitely do so. I just ask that you direct as much of your concerns early to me as you possibly can. One, so I can help our program get better and help our program grow. But two, just as the director, a lot of these decisions that are made are falling with me. And so the coach may not have the best answer. They might not even be in a situation to answer the question. So first bring it to me. Hopefully I can answer most of your questions. And if not, we can relay down to one of the coaches if need be. Players, parents, expectations, responsibilities. I'll let you read through all of that. I talk about direct questions going to me. Be respectful of the process and the structure of AAU. The officials are not always going to be the greatest. They're not always going to be the best. Every tournament is not going to be run to perfection. There's a lot of different moving parts in tournaments that are outside of the director's controls, outside of us as parents and coaches and players' controls. So as we tell our players, control what we can control. Sometimes the schedule sets up great. Sometimes it doesn't. If you have concerns with schedules or frustrations with schedules, please relay them to me first, and then I can relay them on to the directors. The bullet right below that one of the respectful to the process is super important. Our program has grown because of the great people, the great players, and the families we have. When we're at tournaments, you are a walking billboard for this program. We've had very, very few concerns. The ones we've had, they're no longer with us. And so I just ask that you continue to do that each and every time you step into a gym to support, represent 212. During games and practices, just allow our coaches to coach. Allow your kids to play after games, between water breaks. If you have things you need to tell them in practice, great, but just don't do so while they're in the middle of practice. Let them play. Let us coach them. If we need to do a better job with something, please reach out to me and let me know. But during practice times, just allow us to do our jobs, allow the players to play. For the players, when you relay to your kids, what's their responsibilities when they come to practice? Be prepared, be coachable, put forth a great effort, be a great teammate, and just better your best. Mistakes are going to happen on the floor. Play through them. Continue to compete. Continue to get better. Tournament needs scorekeepers. So we'll have scorekeeper situations where we'll need those. If you're a parent that wants to do it consistently or a parent that wants to do it for a weekend, let me know. I'll say, hey, great, appreciate it. Sign in as an assistant coach. You get in for free. And then we may be asking parent reps to help step in. We're hoping to have a consistent parent rep step in and help. That it will coach for parts of games, warm-ups, maybe a little bit longer, depending on overlapping times, gym conflicts, as our coaches coach usually 2 different teams throughout the winter season. Here's your fees and payments. I've got about a minute left. This is the last slide. The uniform fees there are $150. There are installment payment options available. Those are the 4 dates, October 15th, November 15th, December 15th, and January 15th, that those installment payments will be due. If you want to pay in full, great. October 15th will be that due date. You can obviously pay that in full later on, but as much as that we can get prior to having to pay for tournaments would be great. Each team this year will have a black game jersey, black short, black bottom, and then either like a silver or gray uniform. We're working through that right now, top and bottom. And I'll have information out to you as far as trying those on here shortly. The alternate fees down here is $300, not $30. That 0 got blocked, but it's $300. So, and then the last part of this, players will be asked to wear practice uniforms that they're given as part of their uniform fees. They're asked to wear those to practice each night that they come. So it'll be a reversible, and we just ask that they wear that each night that they come to practice. There are your team fees for the upcoming season. And then there's a little bit more information that I'll be going into detail later on about, but the web store will be open September 30th for families to order gear and apparel. It'll be open for about 2 weeks, so we can get that back before the start of the season. And there is the last slide with questions. Thank you for your time. Super excited about this season. Really excited about the talent and the skill level.